Hello and welcome to CIS 4510 IT Project Management. In this session, we will address the type of information that should be collected during the project, which will assist in monitoring project progress. In IT projects, this is a very important task to make sure that everything is going as planned. An activity could be critical for another one to start, and it has to be done in time and according to specification to continue with the second or to continue in the other task. For example, preparing electrical outlets and circuit breakers for the server room. That's a very important task that need to be done first before starting the installation and configuration of the server. Collecting the information of an activity or activity progress, number of drops being created, and other data guide project managers through critical issues and assist in finding the proper solution. Monitoring means collecting, recording, and reporting information concerning any and all aspects of project performance. The data collected could cover many areas such as accounting, operations, testing, design, specifications, setup, configuration, and installation of hardware, and customer feedback. During the initiation and the planning phase, it's very important to identify the data that should be collected. Data collected could take a variety of forms such as frequency counts, raw numbers, subjective numeric ratings, indicators, verbal measures. Using the data collected, we monitor actual against plans or planned goals, which might be product or project or people attributes. When we say product attributes goals, we mean, as an example, the quality of the product, the completeness of function, reliability, and other product related attributes. For project or people related attribute goals, such as project schedule and cost, which is the most popular in project management and in the monitoring process to make sure that the project will stay within schedule and within budget. Could be also people, productivity, and employee morale, something to follow or to monitor during the progress of the project. The project information could be collected in a formal or informal way. Data could be collected formally through planned meetings, surveys, and or interviews. It will actually be planned in the project what to collect. In addition, the project team will prepare themselves to collect certain data if needed. Other data could be collected informally during lunch breaks or walking in the hallway. The project team could be invited informally to chat about data, which can be done face-to-face or through social networks. As you can see, there is a need for both methods, for the formal and the informal, to collect as much data as possible. The formal data gathering should be performed on a regular basis, such as weekly, semi-annually, or semi-monthly, monthly, and so on. In short projects, data collection can be performed every week, while in long projects could be every month, and it will also depend on the type of the project that we are dealing with. Software development may need frequent interviews, meetings, and informal data collection to make sure that the software includes all the required functions. The format of data collected will be specified during the planning stage. Usually the team will aim to collect numerical or logical data, otherwise the team need to collect qualitative data and extract project recommendations as needed. The data collected could be on an activity level, which at that point is called activity-based data. And the activity-based data collection will include data on one or more attributes related to set of activities, such as activity completion date, time duration, and resources used. The activities are within a process or a method. If the data collected was specific to an attribute, collecting information on one or more of its sub-attributes, then it will be called attribute-based data, such as how many functions has been completed for a certain attribute. In most cases, the collected data are mixed of both types, activity-based and attribute-based data. This slide shows an example of activity-based collected data. In the data, you can see a comparison between planned completion and actual completion of an activity. The collected data will include the deltas between planned and actual, which allows the project team or the project manager to measure the difference in the schedule and adjust as needed. The activity-based data did not include any information about resources, productivity, and efficiency. The table on this slide shows an example of an attribute-based collected data comparing planned versus completed on a product functional completeness attribute. It's collecting data on the product functionality attribute and the number of features completed attribute on the specific date, which is in this case, as we can see here, month, and day. So the 07 or 7/15, it's July the 15th of that month. For each function you can see the dates, different dates, and if it was completed as was planned or not. The negative values indicate that those features may never be completed. Since the due date came and it's not done, then it may never be completed. This is also an example of an activity-based data collected and the quality attribute. The data is based on severity problems with the found and resolved issues for each activity through different functional areas. Deltas means the number of issues that is still unresolved, which could trigger an alarm and a need for an action plan. In this type of example, we are not comparing planned versus actual, but we are looking at an attribute that is related to many activities and needs data collection and monitoring. The data collected could be also financially oriented, which will help in budget monitoring. In this case, the collected data will be comparing expenses versus revenue, with each function of an attribute having planned and actual. Formal meetings should be planned with agenda to inform attendees of the type of information that will be discussed and collected through the meeting. In addition, it will assist in running the meeting efficiently. Data collection meetings should not be long, at the most maybe 2 to 3 hours. Actually, short meetings will be more efficient, less expensive or less expense, and takes smaller percentage of attendees' work schedule. If we calculate the 3 hours out of 40 hours, that's around 7.5% of the time of the employees, and if you count that multiplied by the money, this is how much you lose just by having them in one room for 3 hours. So always you would like to make it as short as possible and collect as much information as possible within the allotted time. When the meeting has been scheduled, it's not recommended to postpone or reschedule. Actually, postponing many times will make it lose its legitimacy and relevancy. Um, People will lose interest in giving the information or getting the information. Schedule a separate meeting for specific topics involving relevant and specialized people. If you need, if you have a special problem or certain problem, then you need specialized or experienced people in that problem to attend and solve the problem. Not everybody will be invited to that meeting. In addition, you don't need to turn the meeting into automatic approval process without proper discussion and consideration of the data that should be collected. Informal data gathering is built on trust and the ability to patiently listen to other people, whether physically or remotely, through email, phone, chatting, or physical visits to other locations like remote locations. Informal data collection needs trust to the resource providing the information. Collected and analyzed data will help in generating project progress reports that will include project status. When we say project status, that's really saying where do we stand today relative to the target, and it shows actual versus planned by areas of interest, which are the goals that we stated at the beginning of the project. Causes of any problem should be identified, and the effect of that problem on the project progress should be documented. Any changes in the plan or any planning, a change request should be submitted, and plans, charts, and tables should be updated. The impact of change should be also documented. The graph shown in this slide represents the count of bugs found during a series of tests run on a new piece of software. The collected data shows that the number of bugs decreased over time, and this is what the project manager needs to monitor to make sure that the project team is meeting the project goal. Another example is the percent of specified performance met during repeated trials. Monitoring collected information can serve in maintaining high morale on the project team. In addition, significant differences from planned should be highlighted or flagged so that they cannot be overlooked by the controller. Flagged issues and problems will trigger alerts associated with action plan that should be implemented as soon as these issues happen. The problem, the reaction taken, and the outcome will be documented and reported to upper management. In addition, it will be archived as a reference for future projects. Some care should be given to the issues of honesty and bias. An internal audit serves the purpose of ensuring all information gathered are honest. No audit can prevent bias. All data are biased by those who report those issues. Companies and project managers in particular should encourage team members to point problems and to also point errors without imposing any punishment. Actually, the one who should be punished is the person who hides mistakes, which might affect overall project goal and lead to future failures in the organization. Constructed reports will be at different levels with different frequencies and different level of details. Project activities and project plan will determine the content of the report, the frequency, and to whom it should be submitted to. The timing of the report should generally correspond to the timing of the project milestones. The frequency of reporting should be enough to allow control to be exerted during or before the period which the task is scheduled for completion. The nature of the monitoring system should be consistent with the logic of the planning, budgeting, and scheduling system. The benefits of detailed, timely reports delivered to the proper people are, understanding the goals of the project from both sides, the team and the management. All team members and the management will be aware of the progress of parallel activities. It will be realistic planning for the needs of all groups. Of course, understanding the relationships of individual tasks to one another and the overall project achievement or project goal. Providing early warning signals of potential problems and delays, and this is what we said before, that we need to know if there is a problem, and then what kind of trigger, what kind of alert, and what kind of action should I do just to mitigate the problem and solve it, and all this should be documented. Then faster management action in response to unacceptable or inappropriate work. It should be a fast response to be able to stay within budget and within the project schedule. In addition, it will provide higher visibility to top management. There are three distinct types of project management reports: the routine, exception, and special analysis. For the routine reports, they are those reports that issued on a regular basis. The exception reports are useful in two cases. First, they are directly oriented to project management decision making and should be distributed to the team members who will have a prime responsibility for decisions. Second, they may be used when a decision is made on an exception basis, and it is desirable to inform other managers as well as to document the decision. Special analysis reports are used to disseminate the results of special studies conducted as part of the project. These reports may also be used in response to special problems that arise during the project. Usually they cover matters that may be of interest to other project managers, or make use of analytic methods that might be helpful on other projects. Reports could be submitted to management clients, but would be better to be delivered in face-to-face meetings. The meetings could be more productive following certain rules. First, using meetings for making a group decision. Once you present the outcome or the results of the analysis or data that's been collected and analyzed, and the recommendation and everything that's been done, then you can have a group decision that will be in the proper we say the proper maybe action that's needed at that point. And then the meeting should be also timed with a specific start and specific finish. Any information need to be prepared, and charts and reports should be done prior to the meeting. That means that you need to do your homework before you come and make sure that you have all the information needed to present or to discuss. You need to avoid attributing remarks or viewpoints to individual in the meeting minutes. Everybody's working and everybody's participating, so we don't need to add remarks for certain people. And we need to avoid overly formal rules of procedure. The explicit the rules, the direct the rules are, the simplest the rules are, the easiest to produce the proper report and to get the meeting done in time. If a series or if a serious problem or crisis arises, call a meeting for the purpose of dealing with that issue only, and that will be like a special case of a meeting. And again, in this case, we might only invite experienced people to come and participate in the meeting to find a solution for the problem. Some of the common reporting problems are report and workers feedback that includes too much details, which will leads to the loss of the actual topic that should be reported. Poor interface between the project information system and the parent firm's information system. If we have two different systems, then we have to make sure that the interface between these two systems are working or is working properly. Otherwise, again, that will make us lose some of the information or part of the information between the two systems. The same also if we have a poor corresponding between the planning and the monitoring systems. Two systems, they should be integrated together. The move of information between the two systems should be easy, and the flow of information should be also easy. It's important that the planning, monitoring, controlling cycle be a closed loop cycle based on the same structure as the parent system. The first task in designing the monitoring system is to identify key factors in the project action plan to be monitored and to devise standards for them. The factors should concern results rather than activities, and this is a very important issue because we need to look at the results of what's being done through the project progress. And of course, there are other information that is summarized here in this slide and the next slide. So this is a summary of what we learned in this session. You can look at that. It's just directly related to the chapter, so you can read that. I don't need to read it, or I don't need to tell you what to do or what to say here. It's explicit, so just read that, and this is the summary of the chapter. If you have any questions, you can email it to me, and that will be all for this session. Thank you and have a great day.